I'm Josh Amberger, and you're watching IronmanHacks.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Andrew here. I'm back with another one for Ironman Hacks, and I'm super excited to be speaking with Josh Amberger. So he's someone I've been wanting to talk to for quite a while now, partly due to his epic race reports and also his incredible swim prowess. So how are you doing, Josh?
Hey, Andrew. I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm here in Cascais in Portugal, and I'm a week away from my next Ironman race. So, yeah, just kind of doing the final little block here, and excited to chat with you.
Have you raced this race before?
No, it's first time here to Portugal, even. Yeah, so everything's new to me, although it's kind of like everything seems pretty familiar. There's actually like a lot of big gum trees and stuff around. So like the landscape kind of looks very Australian, and everyone here's like super laid back. So yeah, it's not too different from home.
I mentioned your race reports, the way you write them. Those are pretty fun, and I think a lot of people a lot of people get a lot of entertainment out of those. Have you always done that way?
No, so I started doing that style in I think 2019. Prior to that, I was probably just doing the conventional style, I guess you would say, of generically recanting information. So I started, yeah, just trying to have fun with it, and I reckon I really sort of pushed the limits on what's acceptable in the social media world in terms of some of the language and concepts I use. So it's, I don't know, kind of um, fun from the sides for people to enjoy this. And I haven't been cancelled yet, I guess you'd say. So like I'll as long as I've got some ideas, I'll keep trying to have fun with it. And uh, yeah, I'm just glad people enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I remember reading it with my parents. I don't know where we were. I was with my parents somewhere, and it was either it must have been. Did you race in Nice in 2019?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that
think
was my first proper crack at it. And I guess in like triathlon terms, that one and then the next one, the first Kona one went pretty viral. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
was awesome. But I love the one you did at the PTO race here in Singapore because you took Singapore's main love, which is food, and you sort of integrated that into your, who you are. I don't know how you did it, but it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I try and add some local flavors. I think a few people appreciated the Merline reference too, which for whatever reason I had no idea that of the existence of the Merline until like the race. And yeah, a lot of people said, "Oh, that was so cool. I love Merlions." I was like I'd never heard of them before. So it was, I don't know, kind of funny.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
Merline being like the mythic, like, I don't know, maybe you know more than me, but like the mythical embodiment of Singapore.
yeah, it's sort of I think it's just sort of a an icon. It's actually like an invented commercialized tourist thing to try to get. I
Uh,
think they came up with it in the 70s or something. And the
yeah,
thing is it's right on the water where you swam. And it's
yeah.
really the stereotypical um reference to Singapore that Singaporeans use a lot as well. So you really got it. And you what did you say? Something about laksa and I don't know, it was hilarious. They say you are what you eat. That's how it started, I think.
Yeah. And
Turns out
I'm
it
a
was awesome.
Laksa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, that was, I mean, the line behind that, I think the water was so hot, like it was 29 or 30 degrees. So we dive in there and it's like full gas to the first buoy. And position in these races is everything.
Hmm.
And to get a good position, you gotta have to be swimming like pretty close to your limit, and you just overheat. So
Yep.
that was like the race was just brutal from the gun because of the weather conditions. So.
If I remember correctly, you didn't you said you wanted to hold back a bit. You actually on the first loop, were you leading? in the PTO
Yeah.
race in Singapore. Right.
Yeah, I found myself at the front like I didn't intend to. So with swimming, my strength, it's kind of like a bit of a luxury. I can sort of regulate my speed and kind of really slot myself in the race where I want to, unless, of course, something happens where like I just happen to be the fastest starter and I found myself at the front. The whole story behind Singapore, I was actually focusing on Ironman Canada the next weekend. And I got a call up for Singapore like a week before the race. And I'd done absolutely like no middle distance specific preparation, which was the same case for PTO Milwaukee as well. I'd just raced Lake Placid, Ironman Lake Placid 10 days prior. So not even like 2 weeks, it was like 10 days. And yeah, so these two PTO races, I had late call ups, no specific preparation. And it's pretty much the highest level of the sport. You know, the level in the PTO races is much greater than, say, a 70.3 world championship. All the hitters are there. So I pretty much like bought, I don't know, just, yeah, not much middle distance form to these insane races. So the idea behind Singapore was just to try and hold back as much as I could, just because, yeah, I was in such a heavy sort of Ironman block at that time. So I was kind of like trying to reduce my fatigue as much as possible for performance in Singapore while trying not to, disturb the preparation for Canada the next week, which actually got cancelled the morning of the race in Singapore. So I woke up, they had unfortunately like wildfires in Canada, and British Columbia went into a state of emergency. So I actually woke up and saw the news from Ironman, and that was kind of like a massive blow because I was so pumped to race Penticton. I wanted to do it for so long. They've been sort of plagued by everything, it seems, trying to get the race back there. And I spent an absolute fortune on flights to get there from Singapore last minute. So it was kind of like this calamity on race morning. But yeah, I guess fortuitously, I did decide to take the Singapore start. I kind of thought, okay, maybe I don't want to do it and focus on Canada. But yeah, I'm glad I said yes and got that race in. It wasn't a perfect performance in Singapore by any means.
I finished 11th, so it's my best result at a PTO major. So I'm really happy with that. On the other hand, I'm absolutely cooked. Felt like I was just boiling that whole way.
Still good enough for 11th, but definitely more in the tank for the next PTO.
But you totally were not. I mean, you weren't you weren't peaking for a half Ironman distance or PTO distance, were you? So it's kind of like neither way worked for you, right? You didn't get the full, but you weren't trying for the half. So
yeah, and that's just, I don't know. We've kind of gotten used to making do with racing opportunities after the COVID years. So I wasn't dissatisfied with anything that happened in Singapore. It was still a good result, earned some money, got some points.
Yeah.
It meant I was there to watch Ashley win her third PTO event, which was incredible. And then home was just a short flight away. So at that point, we'd been away from Australia for 4.5 months, just chasing the circuit in Europe and North America. So yeah, it was close to home, and yeah, it was actually a pretty good feeling to, once I got over Canada and got the race out of the way, it was a good feeling to be heading home after that.
Right. Kind of a relief, ending on a good note. And yeah, 11th isn't too shabby. But then after that, you guys didn't go to Finland, did you?
No, so that was actually, the very next week. So we didn't go, and Ashley and I both had starts, but we chose not to. I ultimately, chose to do Ironman Canada, which was the same day. And Ashley chose just not to go and compete in Finland, primarily because we had PTO Milwaukee at the start of August. We had PTO Singapore the third week of August. And, she's a big race performer. She really knows how to tune her body for, the 1 day events, like 1 or 2 times a year, and to stretch that out to like 3 big performances in a month over 3 continents is just extreme. And yeah, something that just wasn't really worth taking on. So ultimately, she won Singapore and could go home satisfied no matter what. So yeah, I don't think she envied the athletes that were getting on that flight 14 hours, I think, like literally 12 hours after the race. There was a direct flight from Singapore to Helsinki that everyone was on. And then turns out most of us got sick anyway, and all the men, half the men that went to Finland couldn't even start. So I also got that gastrointestinal sickness, which knocked me around for a bit. So that ended up not being really the welcome home that I wanted, but I'm still in shape now, so it hasn't sort of impacted too much, I don't think.
Which you properly demonstrated precisely a week ago, right?
Yeah. So Ashley and I both went to Ironman 70.3 Langkawi, the Asia Pacific champs. It was up in Malaysia, and yeah, we got a double win. So that was probably like unexpected on my part. I haven't won a race since the start of 2020, and you kind of get used to, I don't know, not really racing for the win in this modern triathlon era. So it was like just pretty much a perfect performance for me on the day, and so, super happy with that. And just win with Ash on the same day is awesome. Something we've spoken about for a while, but never really executed on my part. So
she's put her part in. But
yeah, definitely.
You mentioned it as I think you referred to it as the first championship title by a couple ever, right?
Yeah, actually, as I think about it, or as I thought about it, Clement Mignon and Marjolaine Pierre, they won Ibiza, the ITU long distance. So not strictly the first championship win by a couple, but the first Ironman championship win by a couple. And of course, we saw like, Greg and Laura Bennett won a ton of races in their time. Rennie and Tio have done it. But yeah, never really at the Ironman championship level. So a bit of an obscurity, but still kind of cool.
Excellent. And you also mentioned that you would say you're the first dual Ironman and half Ironman regional title holder, right?
Yeah, and I think I called it the poor man's championship because it's not really like a world championship, so it kind of doesn't matter. There's plenty of guys that could have achieved that should they have chosen to do so. But yeah, there we go. Ironman and Ironman 70.3 regional titles, so it's pretty cool.
Awesome. I've raced Malaysia, Langkawi, the full a number of times, and I absolutely love it for the pain and it's so hot and it's so hilly. It's just so rough and raw, and the scenery is just so, I don't know. I just think it's just so stimulating to all of your senses. And I feel like it's something I love and hate both at the same time.
Yeah, stimulating, especially if you catch a jellyfish to the face or something like a few athletes did. Yeah. But I was like really blown away by the course. It was amazing. The swim was like just, and as they are in Asia, typically just like perfect straight lines with a ton of buoys. Like you hardly even need to do siding. There's like a buoy 10 meters.
Right. This one has the rope with the little yellow things every like 1 meter. So you don't even have to look, because if you're breathing on your right here, you just see it there the whole way.
Yeah. So that was epic. And
you were first, right? In the swim for sure.
Yeah. Just super fun. It was like rolly. There was some like technical elements. There was like a good flat section in the middle where you could kind of hammer, and then the last 30k of the 70.3 course was super difficult, and that's kind of where Mike Phillips and we launched our moves to split up the pack. We had a pack of 7 or 8 guys at that point, and we we got that down to 3 by transition 2, just with some really hard raw riding in the last part. And the run is like, it's pretty much like Kona. There's sections around the airport where it just dead set feels like you're running in the energy lab. It's not the most inspiring run course I've ever done, but the whole package of the day, putting it together at the finish line, it was just a really good race experience. And I think the one thing that Ashley and I really like about racing in Asia is like the hospitality is always so good. It's pretty much like their specialty in Asia to be looking after you, like in everything. So yeah, it's just a really good race experience.
Let's see, what else do you have planned for the year? I mean, it's the Northern Hemisphere's kind of end of season, but what about for you? I mean, you're not in the Northern Hemisphere.
So yeah, I'm in Portugal at the moment. We've got Ironman Portugal Cascais next weekend.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like my last real shake of the sauce bottle for 2023. I wanted to, when Canada was cancelled, I wanted to get another Ironman performance in. I'm used to racing Kona in October, so this was kind of the best timed Ironman around, that normal Kona spot. And never having been to Portugal or anything like that was kind of pretty enticing for me to come. I took a flight from Langkawi. I flew back to KL and then went Istanbul, Lisbon. It was like pretty smooth travel to get here since I was already in Asia. So that's the Cascais next weekend, last full distance, and then 2 weeks after that I'll do the Noosa Tri, which is kind of like a traditional season send-off. In Australia, normally I'll race Kona and head home and do Noosa 2 or 3 weeks later, which a lot of guys had done in the past, like the Craig Alexanders and Chris McCormacks and a few other guys of that generation used to always do that. So yeah, I'm not really expecting great short distance legs there, but just a bit of fun. And yeah, it's always a great party after Noosa.
So a nice wrap up for 2023.
Yeah, I've definitely like extended my season pretty long. I started racing in the first week of February at Ironman 70.3 Tasmania, so middle of October now. I wouldn't say I'm getting tired. I definitely think I have found my best legs of the season in the last sort of 3 to 4 weeks. But yeah, it's everything you're doing this late in the year is probably taking away from preparation for next year. It's really important to fully rest and recover after the year. So yeah, I'm conscious not to push that out too much. There's actually a ton of racing on offer in Australia starting in November. We've got like 4 or 5 half distance events through, and then finishing off with like Ironman Australia in December. So like there's so much opportunity in Australia coming up, and it's hard to say no to those opportunities. But yeah, at the same time, like racing the Northern Hemisphere summer, I'm kind of yearning for a bit of rest too.